all of the connectors that go into your laptops or your computers and all of the sensors that go into your wearable devices, right? All of those things, the fundamental components of those come from TE. I came to TE through NSBE, which is the National Society of Black Engineers. It's a really large student-led organization that allows for the professional development of Black engineers. I started in the rotational program and I learned a lot about the engineering here at TE. I rotated through the plants, so boots on the ground, steel toes, hard hat, all those things. I did research with the corporate technology group, and I also did design and development with the automotive group as well. And through all those things, I learned a lot about engineering, and I still love it. I'm a nerd. I like the technology behind it. But I always told myself, or I started to understand, that I could be a good engineer, but I could be a really great product manager just around my personality and wanting to understand how to drive the business forward and actually move the needle. So I started asking questions about what function owns the business, really, right? Because sometimes when you're in school, you don't always understand all of the different nuances of careers and of corporations. So I didn't know that product management was even a real job to do. So as I started networking with the leaders here at TE, they all kind of pointed me in the direction of product management, if that's what I wanted to do. I had an opportunity to take on stretch assignments. So as a product manager, you have ownership of a portfolio, right? You go through, you understand what the product lifecycle is, how can you grow the revenue while sustaining margin. So you want healthy growth, right? You don't want to just grow and it's not sustainable. You want to have healthy margins and opportunities to continue to drive the business in the right way. So outside of that, I was able to take business adventures where it was looking at MOQ or minimum order quantity, or looking at how we can better our marketing and things like that. And all those things allowed me to grow my business acumen, where I was able to take larger stretch assignments. So right before I got promoted to manager, one of the biggest assignments that I had was to focus on IoT, Internet of Things, which is a really big campaign in D&D. And I did really well with that, along with my other counterparts on that project. So some of those things gave me visibility into my leadership skills and things like that, because even as an individual contributor, I was still helping to manage cross-functional teams, right? And organizing meetings and trying to tell the story about why what we're trying to do is important and all those things. And it was a little bit intimidating at the time, right? Like, this is really big, really significant projects. And I didn't always know if I was up to the task, but I was always encouraged to continue to do my best and be yourself and things like that, because you are doing a good job. And then I had the opportunity when open to become a manager. If you want to have a well-rounded experience, then you should work here at TE, right? Because everything here is really balanced, right? Whether it's your work-life balance with the flexible work programs that we have, or it's with the work that you're doing in terms of not being redundant, or even the communities that you have to be a part of, whether it's the African Heritage ERG or TEYP or Align, right? You have really good balance of all the different things that kind of make me feel comfortable here. So if you want to work here at TE, or you're looking for a work home, I think if you're looking for that balance, this is the place for you. I've learned so much about cultures around the globe, right? Whether it's Chinese New Year, or it's talking about Taiwanese culture or Indian culture, right? From our TE counterparts in Bangalore, even in Germany, right? Germany or Switzerland or Sweden, right? All across the world, Mexico. I've been able to not only work with these people professionally, but also build personal connections with them, asking about what foods they eat, what type of activities they like to do outside of work, all of those things. So that network of 80,000 employees really is consolidated based on the virtual work that we do and how global our manufacturing footprint is, and also just how widespread our teams are as a whole. The culture at TE is great, right? Bar none, right? So, and I may be a little bit biased, right? Because this is the only company that I've worked at full time, but I really do feel that way because I have anecdotal experience outside of TE, right? That maybe that's not always the case. And especially with the ERGs here that we have, employee resource groups, I've really found a really strong community of people that look like me in terms of development. So the African Heritage ERG has allowed me to continue to expand my professional development skills and also give back to the community as well, because my community has poured a lot into me as I've been growing up and making sacrifices for me to be in the places that I am today. And I always feel like it's an obligation for me to give back in that aspect as well. So not only do I have a professional community, right, I have a personal community as well that allows me to kind of balance both sides of my life here at TE as well. TE has 5 values, and the one that stands out most to me is inclusion. But there's also 2 different sides of what inclusion can be, right? So there is inclusion on the cultural aspects, right, and making sure that you have diverse communities and things like that in a workplace. But there's also inclusion in terms of diversity of thought. And I believe that no idea can really come to fruition in a silo, right? It doesn't matter how great the idea is, you're gonna need to iterate on it, you're gonna need to bounce ideas off of one another, and you need that friction, right, to kind of grow the idea into something that's actually marketable. So your idea can start good, but you need people around you to make it great. And so I think inclusion in that aspect is really why that resonates with me from a TE perspective. I think that if you want it, it's here to get for you, right? So TE is kind of like a meritocracy, right? You can stretch yourself as much as you want, right? Or you can kind of be conservative and work at your own pace as well. So there's a lot of opportunities for me where I said, hey, I want to go do this, and I've been given the resources to actually go and execute on that as well.